Hi there, and welcome to the Qimage Ultimate supplemental video for the print unclog pattern. If you haven't already watched our video on the print unclog pattern, how to set it up, and how to configure your printer, I'll link to that right here in this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about a new feature that allows you to print unclog patterns to your printer while you're away on a schedule. The reason we might want to do this is because a lot of inkjet printers develop clogs if they're not used regularly. So if your printer tends to develop clogs after it's been sitting for a week without printing or 2 weeks, you may want to schedule the unclog pattern to be printed on your printer from time to time to keep the ink flowing and prevent clogs that might appear. By preventing the clogs from appearing in the first place, we won't have to use cleaning cycles and print out test prints or unclog patterns to clear the clogs. We'll look at the new feature here under File, Print Unclog Pattern. And this dialog here is the main print unclog pattern dialog where you select your colors and whether you want a full or a half page pattern. And these items on this dialog here are discussed in that other main video. In this video, we're going to talk about the schedule, which is this button right here. So this video assumes that you've gone through a setup, you've clicked setup, and you've set up the driver settings for your printer as they're described here and in the other video. And once you've done that, you'll have a number of saved setups here that were created when you click this setup button on this first dialog. And you can see that I've got a Pro 9000 printer, an Epson R1900, and some different setups here that have been saved. So when you click this schedule button to schedule an unclog pattern, you'll get the scheduling dialog. This dialog is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go through it anyway to show you some of the ins and outs of how to set your schedule and what to do here. In this dialog, up top you can see where the print unclog pattern is going to be printed, and you can select one or more printers up here. If you want to print the unclog pattern to 2 or 3 or 4 printers, you can just add them to the list here. And this list, if you want to add another printer, this list is the same one that we saw on that first dialog. It's the saved setups that you created on the print unclog pattern dialog when you click that setup button. So if I click this Pro 9000, it'll add that to the list, and now when the schedule comes up and it's time to print an unclog pattern, it'll print it to both of these printers. I don't need to do that because I don't use this Pro 9000 anymore, so I'm going to right click and choose delete. There's another option on here. You can move this up so that it prints the unclog pattern to that printer first. It doesn't really matter because when the print unclog schedule comes up, it's going to print to both of these printers within a few seconds of one another. So it really doesn't matter what order they're in, but if you like to order them a certain way, you can do that. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one now and just leave the one that I'm interested in. Down here we can see the date and time for the first unclog pattern, and that's set to today at 10 p.m. Here we can choose the repetition. We can print it every day, every 7 days, whatever we want here. And the number of times to repeat the schedule, -1 means repeat it forever and don't stop. But you could set this to 5 times or 7 times. Let's say you're going to be on vacation for a week. You could set this to 7 and leave this on 1, and it'll print 7 patterns, and it'll stop when you get back after the 7th repetition. Keep in mind here that if you put 7 in here, it's going to print the first unclog pattern at the date and time you chose, and then it'll repeat it 7 times, so you'll actually get 8. So that's how that works. Print the first pattern and then repeat after that. Now here I'll just show you how this works by clicking on this Now +1 button. It just sets the schedule for 1 minute from now. So I'm going to click that button and click OK. And what it does is it brings the pattern up and it says verify This is basically one of one printers that you're going to print the unclog pattern to. Does it look correct? Yes. Then it gives you some information about loading paper, making sure you have enough, and a warning about printing unattended. And it says start the scheduler now. I'll say yes. Then it says the first unclog pattern will print, and that's about a minute from now. We wasted some time on the dialogue, so it's actually more like 30 seconds. You'll get a warning at 30 seconds, and then I'll show you, even if you have some prints in the queue and you're working on them, that job will come up and print any second now, and we'll see the queue change. So we'll wait for that to happen. And there we saw it load the pattern, print it out to the printer. You can actually hear the printer printing in the background. And it brought us back to right where we were. It brought our images back that we were working on, all of our settings and everything. So that's how it works. And even if you're working in Qimage Ultimate and doing something, it'll go ahead and print the pattern and then come back to what you were working on. This button up here in the top right, this clock button, it will show you how long it's going to be until the next unclog pattern prints, 23 hours 59 minutes, so that would be about a day from now. And if you click that button, it will turn the scheduling off. So now it's not following the schedule. If we click the button again, it'll say, are you sure you want to begin unattended printing starting tomorrow at 4:31? That'd be about a day from now. I say yes, and it goes ahead and starts the scheduler. Now right now the scheduler will simply wait until that time and print another unclog pattern, just as the one that's printing out right now. So here we can just select File, Minimize to System Tray, because we need Qimage to keep running and we need the computer to still be on for the scheduler to run. So we can just minimize it to the system tray, and the icon will go usually in the lower right of Windows, and you'll have your little yellow Q icon down there that you can click on again. And if you click on it in the system tray, it'll open back up to this window and the scheduler will still be running. That's just a quick way to get Qimage Ultimate out of your way so that it can run in the background and simply wait for the next unclog print. So we do need to leave the computer on and Qimage Ultimate either open or minimized. And to me that's not a problem because I leave my computer on anyway. I find that they last longer when you leave them on because the up and down cycles tend to wear out computers faster than just leaving them on. So that's the way that this works. And I'll show you one other quick thing here, a little hidden feature. If you middle mouse click on this clock button, it'll ask you if you want to skip the next scheduled unclog pattern that's going to occur tomorrow. If you click yes, it'll simply skip it. So let's say that it was scheduled for today at 10 p.m. and you just printed a bunch of prints and you know your printer has been used that day. You can use that feature to just skip one cycle. So again, the process would be to click on the unclog pattern here, do your setups from here, and set up your printer. I might set up the R1900 and then click setup again and create a setup for my Pro 9000. Once you click setup and these are all set up and ready to go, they'll appear in the drop down list here and also in the scheduler here, and that's the way you can select multiple printers. Just select them out of this. Now I've got 3 printers here and it'll print the unclog pattern to all 3 of these on this schedule. Note that there's only one schedule, so I normally keep it set to every day at 10 p.m. and I only want this one printer, so I'll use the shortcut. I'll just click the delete key here on these and get them out of here. But if you're printing to multiple printers, they'll all fire at the same time. So if you have one printer that tends to clog every week, if it sits for a week or longer, and another printer that can go 2 weeks, err on the side of caution and just use 1 week if you're going to use both printers. So set it to the one that clogs the most often. We didn't want to develop a schedule that could be set differently for different printers because that just complicates the interface unnecessarily. So one schedule, it'll fire when you tell it to fire, and it'll queue up those unclogged prints and print them out to whatever printers you have in this list here, and it'll keep going as long as you tell it to. So hopefully this video will give you the tips that you need to use the scheduler to keep your printers unclogged so that you'll never have to use a cleaning cycle due to the printers sitting for too long and the ink drying up. Thanks for watching.